If you've ever felt like the odd one out, then I need you to hear this. Chances are you're not broken, you're just in rooms you were never meant to shrink to fit yourself into. I used to think that something was wrong with me. A lot of times I always felt like I was the black sheep or the different one. I choose to do things different. For a long time, I called myself, my handle on Instagram was the unconventional ginger because I just felt like I was always just different, weird, the oddball. I I thought maybe it was just me, but as I have grown up and began to really develop self-awareness, I realized that there are tons of people that feel the way that I did growing up. I never felt like I belonged to one specific group or social setting. It's not that didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. I felt more like I belonged everywhere or I could fit in everywhere. And then there was a point in my life where I just kept calling myself a jack of all trades because I never knew what I wanted to do with my life or for a career, at school, at jobs, even in friendships. I always felt like I was a little bit different from the average person. But what if that disconnection is actually your gift, trying to reroute you in the right direction? Being the black sheep, it oftentimes sounds a lot worse than it actually is. A lot of times it's cool to be the black sheep. It's cool to be the one that's different, that likes to be, that is, a little bit of a contrarian or a misfit. Oftentimes it's cool to be that person. The world wasn't built for women like us to thrive by following the rules. We oftentimes don't need to break them, but they definitely need to be bent in order for us to feel like we are living in our truth. I've always felt that I was meant to create and not just conform. I started to realize that about myself, especially when I was in college, and it was probably the most resistance that I encountered with myself ever in my life until I, started to embrace it and understand that that is just who I am at my core. If you see things differently, if you tend to dream differently, it's because your path is different. You are a different person. And oftentimes, people who are entrepreneurs, people who are business owners, we just think different. We think out of the box. And creatives, we are just people who tend to see the world from different perspectives than the majority of other people do. But fitting in for us, it's never the goal. It never should be the goal. So if you're feeling like you don't fit in, that's because you're not meant to be. But what you are meant to be is aligned with your truth, aligned with your passions, aligned with you at your core, at your truest form. I know a lot of this stuff probably sounds kind of woo-woo to people, but that's because it is, and that's okay. I don't care. But what's important for people like us is to reframe that understanding of being lost. So I always say that you're not behind, but you're building. You're building the foundation of who you are. And a lot of times that happens slower for people like us because we have to do a lot of digging and exploring to truly understand who we are. Like, for example, I have always known that I am really passionate about a lot of things. I'm really good at a lot of things. I can pick up on a lot of things really well, but it took me a long time before I understood where all of those things overlap and how they really come together to create who I am at my core, at my deepest center of my being. And if you are someone right now who's feeling like you're going through this really rough transition and you are finding yourself, you are figuring it out, maybe you're learning a new skill, maybe you are trying to further yourself on social media like me, and you are feeling a little bit lost in the sense that you're alone in that. Maybe in your day-to-day life, you're feeling like you're the only person that feels the way that you do. I am here to tell you that isolation often precedes your elevation in life. So if you're feeling alone and isolated and like you kind of just have your head down and you're just working, you're producing right now the fruit of your labor. So you've got your head down and you're just working, that can feel very lonely at times. But that's okay. It's okay to put your head down and work and be kind of in that routine, especially when you know you're about to hit this transition and you're about to take off in the direction that you need to be going. And this will happen with entrepreneurship. This will happen with creatives. Like, big things happen in isolation. That's why authors go to the middle of the woods to write books sometimes. But it's the truth. Entrepreneurship, creativity, being in your flow state, oftentimes it demands isolation. So if you're feeling like you do spend a lot of time alone right now, but you are working on things, that's totally normal, and that's how it should be. Most people who made something of themselves started in confusion, and they hunker down so that they can figure their stuff out, and there is usually this beautiful outcome at the end of the tunnel. Your power is in your perspective. You don't have a weird one or a skewed vision. Your power lies in your perspective and the different perspective that you bring to every situation and just the world in general. The very things that made you feel left out are the things that will make you that much more magnetic later on down the line, especially if you're learning how to lean into those things. People follow people who are brave enough to be different. That's usually how trends start. Trend setters are the people that were bold enough to be different, to stand out, and to not give a shit because they were just being themselves. They were being who they were meant to be all along. And so that's probably how you're feeling right now. And I want you to know that that is completely normal. Stop shrinking and start showing yourself off, because the world deserves to see you for who you are and to benefit from your gifts. It is a part of your purpose and a part of why you were put on this earth. You're not here to blend in. You're here to shift the room. So be that.